Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge in the Almighty Dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2023 Masters Before the Lock Show. Yes, this is everything you need to know before locking in those final DFS lineups and maybe some final bet thoughts you might have. I can share mine with you. And I'm going to go over ownership projections. I've got some models that I did now for the weather. I think that are very interested that you might want to see. Also broken down AM, PM flights and how the models went against those because, well, we still got some weather things we're trying to figure out. So with all that said, thank you for stopping by. Give me about 20, 30 minutes. We'll get through all this. And oh yeah, I also have, and congratulations to the winners of my giveaway. I will be contacting you lucky folks on YouTube comments. I used to share the names in the show, but then I've had some people ask not to do that. So I will just personally reach out to you on YouTube comments, and all I need you to do is respond with your PayPal email address, and let's get that money over to you, hopefully in time to spend on the Masters. Okay, so weather just keeps being a topic, and this was what was released today, actually on the Golf Channel that they shared, and they're saying possible thunderstorms chance in the afternoon. Wind getting up to 14, and then Friday you got a chance of thunderstorms, and we'll dive into there's again deeper dives. I'm getting information from a lot of places where, you know, is it morning, is it afternoon, but the wind get up to 18, and then of course it gets cooler, and we've got kind of the wind shifts to the northeast on Friday, hence bringing in the colder air. You got a chance of rain, and then AM showers, partly sunny. So that was kind of the general review. And then I went and jumped and pulled the latest from the PGA and what they're getting. And you can see some things highlighted. So it looks like 30% chance of thunderstorms after 3 p.m., which winds gusting up to 14 as the afternoon comes along. And then Friday, they're saying 50% chance of morning showers. So if you went with that, an AM PM flight looks good, but then it says it's going to be breezy after 3 p.m. And with gusts up to 25. And then again, Saturday and Sunday, I'm not as concerned about because it looks like everybody's going to be dealing with some pretty crappy elements, and how they play is then, of course, where they'll be flighted. So our big thing is trying to figure out this Thursday, Friday, if there's an advantage. And so either way, what I wanted to do is I actually, because of this and knowing, you know, I kind of waited, I created the model previously that conditions are fine. And now that I've seen what is going to be coming, I've got my own personal opinion on what I want from a stroke game perspective. So there has been some changes. I wanted to share that. This is a recent form model. It's looking at the past 6 tournaments or 24 rounds of golf these guys have played. If you see a star, it means that the data is going to be a bit older. Ricky Fowler should not be in there. Again, the betting odds, whatever reason was pulling him in, but everybody else is good. And then the stars mean, of course, they're live players, which we don't have this year's data, or at least probably since the Open or the FedEx Cup ending is what a lot of those guys kind of made their transition over. What got changed was that you're going to see ball striking got increased to 20%. I feel like with the wet fairways and what they're going to be dealing with, ball striking is going to be more important. You're going to need distance off the fairway. You're not going to get the run out. You're going to have longer shots in. I've got driving distance now instead of good drives at 15%, fairways gain, so 20% off the tee. We do need the guys, as I mentioned, poking it out there. And then irons are always one of the top things that you need to do very well here at Augusta. So that's at 25%. This proximity is 75 to 100 because of quite a few of the par fives and it being wet. I think there's going to be a lot of more three-shot par fives, hence number 13, which you probably, if you've been watching the Golf Channel, have heard a ton about, but of course they moved it back. And so all the guys are, you know, very rare that they're going to be going for it in 2 because you got the creek in front. And if you got a 3-iron or a hybrid in your hand, and if it doesn't go right, now you're in trouble. So a lot of guys are going to make that a 3-shot hole. Hence, again, having this kind of 75-yard, 50 yards to the green, and then make birdie. Around the green is still important. And then putting, you're seeing a 15%, 5-on putting, the 5 to 10, which I think, and then that lag putt, which shows up quite a bit at Augusta, around 20 feet or over at 5%. So with all that said, if you're curious, Scotty Scheffler comes out number 1. Rahm, Homa, again, multiple-time winners this year. You got Finau, multiple-time winner in the kind of fall or the ending of the 2022 season. You got Rory, of course, he went on the DP World Tour, great match play, and has also had some really nice finishes. Of course, he missed a cut the players. That'd probably be the only knock I'd say against. Also, I forgot to mention, you probably know this, but maybe for some people that are just coming in for the Masters, Rory made a change to the driver. He cut it down, I believe, to 44 and a half, so a half inch off. And of course, that's what he was using at the WGC match play. And as we saw, it was extremely good, and he's very happy with it. And what I'm getting at is probably maybe some of the issues that he was feeling, at least what he stated in his presser, was that he wasn't so happy with the driver. And he also made a change, which again, if you watch the Dell match play, with his putter, and went to more of a blade putter that he's used in the past, and a little change of grip. Long story short, feels pretty good, at least what we saw at the Dell match play with the putter. Okay, Patrick Cantlay, also I mentioned he was testing out equipment and then had a nice little run here in the last few tournaments, but had kind of a slow start at the Tournament of Champions. Terrell Hatton had the hand injury at the WGC match play, but everything is supposed to be fine there. You got Xander, who I feel like his game's improving. Victor Hovland. We're going to talk about this from a betting side, but his odds actually went up. And I already told you I got him at 35 to 1. And of course, as you can probably imagine, I also got some more at 45 to 1. If you saw the little flash presser, he was talking about, how much he's been working on a short game, and he feels very confident. I'm more worried about, I've seen Victor chip in a ton. I'm more worried about the putter. And when I was watching him in the last couple tournaments, he's been putting well. He's just not getting him to fall in. He's just burning edges. So hopefully that changed. I got Jordan Spieth at pretty standard. I think that's about where he's been at 18 to 1. Joaquin Niemann fits right in there. And I mentioned, I think him and Smith and DJ are really the three best talents, my own personal belief, on the LIV Tour. That if I, am betting some of those guys, or DFS, I'm not really betting, but from a DFS perspective, those would be guys that I would play. You got JT at 22 to 1, which his odds went up a little bit. Morikawa at 28 to 1. Mito Pereira at 80 to 1, which I also said I'd play him in DFS, so I don't know if I mentioned that. I like him too. Cam Young, 35 to 1. Ricky, don't worry about that. He did not win the Valero to get in. You got Tom Hoge, the Iron Master, as you can see right here, leads this field with the irons. That did not come to fruition in my hopes for the WGC match play, as he got knocked out in the pool round, but the guy is still a really good iron player. Pretty accurate off the tee, too. It's just the putter that can get him into trouble. And then, of course, DJ here at the bottom at 22. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to see and what I wanted to share with you was, again, we talked a bit about this yesterday, but a win model. So which guys over the past 12 rounds of golf in really strong wins, this would be 20 mile an hour or plus, against this new model that I created, who fares out the best. And again, the one thing that is for sure, at least from a weather perspective, that they're predicting. We don't know exactly when all the rains are going to come in, but everybody's stating we are going to have wind gusting up to possibly 20, 25 miles an hour. Sungjae Im, Max Homa, Keegan Bradley, Finau, Thomas, Scheffler, Tiger Woods. Again, you got to remember this data is a bit older, so take that with a grain of salt. Kokrak, again, I don't have a problem with that. He has one in Texas, the Colonial, but again, this data is a little older. You got Xander, Rahm, Hoagie, Spieth. Of course, Cam Smith, I already talked quite a bit about him on my show yesterday about the break and not playing as well as he wished. And I'm not as high on him as I was, of course, last year. I still will put him in a few lineups, but he's not going to be heavily used. Daniel Berger, as far as I know, and I've stated this 1,000 times, he's not here and he's not playing. Gary Woodland, of course, won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach and is a great ball striker, could definitely flight the ball down. So that makes total sense. Just usually a very bad putter, which you can probably see represented over here. And then Shane Lowry, we all know when he won at Royal Portrush, the Open in 2019. Of course, Fleetwood was in second, and that was some of the craziest weather we've seen at an Open in a while. And last but not least, Corey Connors, who's won now twice in Texas at the Valero and is one of the better ball strikers on tour. And again, typically it's the putter around the green that can cause him issues, but amazing enough, he's got great finishes here. 3 top 10s, I believe, off the top of my head, and just for some reason loves these greens and can putt them. Okay, now moving on to, I just got 2 more models for you, and I'm just going to go through this really fast. If you are interested, and we're going to dive into Wind Finder because, like I said, I'm a little bit of mixed information. So you kind of got to make a call, and I think where I'm going to fall on this is I'm going to build some teams with an AM, and I'm going to build some teams with a PM. So maybe a mix, because I don't right now have a clear understanding if there is going to be an advantage. But because we know weather is coming, it definitely could be a possibility that there could be. So in that Millie Maker, I was kind of how I'm going to go about it. So what you're getting here is that model. against the guys that have the AM PM, so starting at 8 a.m. and finishing the tee times, teeing off at 10:54. That is kind of my break. I think it's something like 42 players or something like that in that grouping. And of course, no shocker, you got Rahm, Cantlay, Schauffele, Hovland, Young, JT, M, Lowry, Kirk, Mitchell, Smith, Kitayama, Svensson, Gooch, Matsuyama, Na, Bradley, and Garcia. Of course, Garcia, Na, Gooch, Cam Smith, and I believe that's it, would fall under, of course, the live guys. So this data, again, would be a little older. And what you're looking at here is the past 6 tournaments they have played that we have stroke gain data for, recent with no filters on. All right, now flip that around if you think there's going to be a PM AM flight advantage, or if you want to do kind of where I'm going with this whole thing. Here's the guys that tee off at 11:06 to 2 p.m. And that ranked guys, again, best against my model under the same thing, last 6 tournaments or 24 rounds of golf. You got Scheffler, Homa, Finau, Rory, Hatton, Spieth, Neiman, a live player, Morikawa, Mito Pereira, live player, Hoagie, DJ, of course, live. Will Zalatoris, Jason Day, Fleetwood, Moore, HV3, also a live player, Justin Rose, and Straka. When I call it the live players, I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying the data is going to be a bit older, where I'm looking, all the rest of the guys would be recent form data. Okay, and then real quick, just a betting update, some things that I've done actually today, and wanted to just share with you guys. So I mentioned JT. I believe that went up a couple points. I did not bet JT yet. The more I kind of sat there and thought about it, I mentioned the rounds that he had at the Players, which was not this year, but previously, and really windy, bad conditions. He also had one of his best rounds ever at the Masters in very windy conditions. I believe that was last year. I believe on Friday. So under those, under the conditions we see, I do like JT to possibly pull this thing out. He's also made a change to his putter, and he didn't change the head or the shaft. He changed the grip. And I guess, I don't know if he was playing with Rory. I forgot now. He's playing with someone, and he mentioned this in his presser, and just really like the feel. It's very close to a grip that he's done a lot of winning with previously. My hopes, and I'm sure his hopes are too, that he starts making some putts, because that's really, I think, my own personal opinion, what's been holding him back. Victor Hovland was 35-1, and then today he moved to 45-1. So I said, well, under my theory, he was one of the top guys that I wanted to bet, all on the hopes that his short game and putter comes around, and that I think he has an advantage because of how well and how many fairways he hits with the length he hits, and how well his irons can be. So I like Victor Hovland. And then I told you guys yesterday I was going to bet Max Homa, and I'm glad I waited. Again, there's some of these guys that have went up in odds. He was earlier in the week 25-1. He moved up to 28-1. By the way, all this is on DraftKings Sportsbook is where I'm getting these odds. And then if you also want kind of an interesting one, I was looking at kind of make cuts, miss cuts. They have a make cut parlay that has 4 guys, and then you get the odds. And I looked through them all, and they kind of put one kind of stinger in there on almost all of them. But out of all the ones I looked at, I like this one the most, with the odds getting pretty much 2-1, 210-1. JT, Tommy Fleetwood, Tiger Woods. So the top 3 guys I feel very good about that'll make the cut. Tiger's never missed a cut here, even with the issues he's had recently. JT, and Tommy, I feel like definitely. And again, you got to remember, 88 guys, probably 20 of those guys, you're talking past champions, amateurs. They're not going to make the cut, and then maybe 10 other PGA Live guys that won't, because 50 of them are going to make it into the weekend. And like I said, about 20 of them, you kind of are like, all right, well, we can get rid of these past champions that are just here for the experience. And then a lot of the amateurs, I'm not saying an amateur or 2 won't make it, but that's kind of my theory why hopefully Billy Horschel can make the weekend, because he's the guy that I'd be most nervous of kind of busting this bet. But that's kind of the update on where I'm at from a betting side. I wanted to share that with you. All right, let's go jump into Fantasy National real quick. Let's look at the ownership projections. We're going to look real quick at the weather again, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here. Okay, so I've hopped over to Fantasy National, and as always, if you're putting any money on DFS or betting, I highly recommend that you use this tool to do your own analysis. And you can also do things like look at ownership projections. Now, again, if you are new to this and don't understand where this is coming from, this data, I want to explain it to you real quick. When you use Fantasy National, you're doing all your models, and you can select the guys that you want. You can pump them into a kind of a team generator. So if you're making 100 teams or 150 teams, it saves you a lot of legwork, and you automatically put that into DraftKings, which then this is where that number is. So 19,000 teams or generated lineups have happened out of Fantasy National into DraftKings. So I really like their data because of that. And this is the highest number I've seen all year. Of course, that's very typical. Typically, when we're doing this, somewhere between 5 to 8,000 lineups will, for the average tournament. Well, so what we're going to look at is this number over here. And if you're curious, Rory, and right now Rory's leading the most highly owned player. Then Scotty Scheffler is coming in second. And then Finau, a little bit probably, I think, the weather. And then, of course, he's had a very good record here. You got Rahm, Jordan, again, really good record here, except, missed the cut last year, which, again, I feel like there was some kind of a flight advantage last year. I just haven't let back look. Sungjae Im, which you saw is number one in the win model that I showed you. JT, people are probably thinking what I am, that, he does play very well when you got to get creative and make, flight the ball differently. So that's interesting. Corey shows up in there. Xander, I think we all think of him as a grinder, kind of mutter. Justin Rose, Jason Day. That's your chalkiest. And then once you get below 15%, my buddy Victor, you got Morikawa, DJ, Fleetwood, Matsuyama, Homa, Cantlay, M, Mitchell. You got Cam Young here at 11. Shane Lowry, who, I'm sure, again, we all think should be a good mutter, but the putter has not been there this year yet. Minwoo Lee, Cam Smith. So there you go, down because of everybody, even me, thinking that he's just not in the form that we're used to seeing. Got Hoagie, Danny Willett, who won here under pretty bad conditions. Same year, right, where, was that 2016, where Jordan struggled on that par 3. I believe shot like a 7 or something crazy like that, and Danny Willett went away with it after that. You got Reed, Will Z, Chris Kirk, Koepka, Gooch, Kitayama, Neiman, Pereira, Burns, Nah, Moore, and then I'll let you can kind of see the rest. Tiger Woods coming in at 6%. Just seeing some of the guys. Now, if you see these stars, these are the guys in the PM, so it's not the guys that I've selected for my top 20 picks. Just want you to clarify that. Let's go down and see who. So nobody has picked these guys. No shocker. Sam Bennett, Kisner, Higa. Don't have to worry about Wise. He's out. Zach Johnson, funny enough, when he won this tournament, and I don't even remember the year now. It was quite a while ago. It was also very rainy, crappy conditions. So just a side note. Stallings, Mickelson, Nola, Molinari, Peters, Billy Ho, KH Lee, Mac Hughes. So I'm just showing you these guys if you're looking for maybe a differentiator play. Got JT Poston, Brian Harmon. I talked about in length on the previous show how lefties have done very well here. I believe they won 6 out of the last 20 Masters. Who I did forget to mention was Mike Weir, the Canadian. Also a lefty who won this tournament. I mentioned Bubba twice, Phil Mickelson 3 times. And then Patrick Reed, which in the time when he won, he really drawed the ball quite a bit on all his shots. So just side note there. Okay, I think you got a good understanding of where the ownership is falling. And so hopefully that helps you out if you're trying to get creative on the guys that you might want to go with that's not highly owned. All right, last thing we're going to do real quick, I just want to show you this. If you are going to be playing Showdown or want to, do your own analysis from a weather perspective, the closest location that has what they call a super forecast, the detailed hour by hour forecast, you're going to want to pull up this Daniel Field Airport. I'm guessing quite a few of the guys flying private, which is quite a few of them, probably flew in here and have their planes sitting there. And we don't need to worry about Wednesday. Let me just update this real quick while we're here, just so you can see it. Okay, so right here, what they're showing is actually the AM is going to have the rain. Hence, this is kind of why we're getting a different reports that it's going to be the afternoon that's going to have the thunderstorms. But what Windfinder is stating at this moment is that rain could be in the morning and then it should be fine the rest of the afternoon. So an evening. That's why I wanted to show you guys this. And hence my reason not to have a real strong feeling where they are, because under these conditions, you might say, well, I think I'd rather go with the afternoon, guys, because then the morning doesn't look too bad, because the afternoon is when the wind could gust. So, at first it was really sounding like an AM PM advantage, and now what Windfinder's telling us is that the afternoon, the PM AM guys should have an advantage because, a little bit of rain in the morning, but, really no wind compared to if it's going to blow at 15 to 25. I'd rather go with the PM AM guys. So again, where I'm ending up on this is I'm going to build some teams both ways, because I don't think really anybody knows exactly what's going to happen with this weather. and I don't want to be sitting there loaded one way or the other, at least from a milli maker perspective. So that's that. All right, let's jump out and wrap this thing up. All right, so real quick, I just wanted to share that information with you. So you got ownership projection, you got all the new modeling information, the flights. I hope that helps you. I hope I didn't confuse you, but hopefully that helps you kind of finalize what you want to do from a lineup perspective. I wish us all a ton of success. And like I said, from a milli maker standpoint, I think I'm going to build some AM and some PM, see how that all works out. I already got my bets in, and that is whatever it is. And as always, if you guys do me the honor, click that like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and follow me on Twitter at DFS Golf Guru, where I will keep my eye on everything and tweet it out if I think it's actually important or if I think it's funny. So with that said, you guys, oh, and by the way, yes, I will be reaching out to you guys on YouTube comments to tell you who won my Masters giveaway. All right, guys, have an amazing Masters. Enjoy the tournament. Let's all cross our fingers that we get this in within the 4 days. We don't have a Monday finish or a bunch of stop and starts. That's the biggest thing that I'm looking for. All right, guys, take care. Have a great weekend.